for the most budgety-est, shreddiest, most metal guitar has taken a side quest this time around, and for a good reason. With all the options out there, I'm constantly looking for options that provide the best value so that I can relay that information to all of you. And to be honest, I just like doing this for my own morbid curiosity a lot of the time. After my last video on the cheapest Jackson guitar, I was perusing Amazon and was suggested this. Now, how is this guitar only $119? It has an actual Fender-shaped headstock. Oh, because it's a Squier. Of course it is.
Here's a nice piece of shit.
I'm sure the vast majority of you are familiar with the Squier brand and associate it as Fender's cheap line of guitars. That's kind of the consensus, but without diving too deep into the lore, Squier was a separate company that was acquired by Fender in the 60s. Then at some point in the late 70s, early 80s, Fender realized they needed to start producing lower cost versions of their Stratocasters and their Telecasters for the Japanese market to compete with the clones of those guitars in those markets. So they launched the Squier brand and since have produced these lower priced guitars in different countries, from Indonesia and Korea, and currently they are produced in China. Now, one of the common beliefs that people have with Squier guitars is that they're cheap and kind of shitty guitars. And when you understand the history and what was going on with them through the 80s and the 90s, I think it sort of makes sense. Back then, the automation technology wasn't near what it is today in terms of production and capacity, so making cheap guitars usually meant cutting corners. I'm sure if any of you were playing guitars in the 90s or even the early 2000s, you have at least peripherally heard disparaging comments about the Squier brand, probably from a Guitar Center employee. Just saying. I've actually avoided Squiers for the most part in my guitar playing journey because of that bias.
Whoops, I was wrong about this one. I forgot that I purchased one of these Squier Jaguars back in maybe like 2011, 2012, something like that. And you know, it was fine. It was fine. Not much to talk about here. I just wanted to correct myself because yeah, I'm a liar. Sorry about that.
But around 2017, I decided I wanted to try one of the Jim Root Telecaster. Let me go grab it. Did I put that guitar away? What did I do with that guitar? Ah, found it. This is the guitar that I'm talking about. Now, I didn't want to pay the price for the Fender model because I wasn't sure if I would even vibe with this guitar, so I purchased the Squier model. And it was a good choice because I ended up not liking this guitar at all, for reasons I can go into in a future video if you guys want to hear me break down why I didn't vibe with it. But what I was really surprised about with this guitar is the quality of it. There's none of the sharp fret ends or shoddy craftsmanship that you come to associate with cheap guitars after a while. Everything's clean and neat and works on par with really any other guitar that I own. The electronics and the hardware were a little bit janky, that's why I put this EMG in here. But really, to be honest, I kind of expected that for the price of this guitar. So this changed my perspective a little bit, and now here we are today, looking at the cheapest guitar Squier has to offer. It's a Stratocaster shape, very reminiscent of the guitars all of my heroes were playing in the 90s, so it's got big nostalgia feels for me. And oh, look at that, I just got a shipping notification. Good timing. Let's go grab this box that just got delivered. So I am very excited to be able to tell you about today's sponsor, Sweetwater and Hosa cables. Let me tell you why. There it is. Yeah, boy. All right. So today's video is brought to you by Sweetwater and Hosa cables. If you're not familiar, Hosa makes high quality cables for all of your audio needs, including instrument cables, XLR cables, speaker cables, digital cables, HDMI cables, cable testers, you name it, they probably have it. They also have something in here which is going to make my life so much easier, and I'm very, very excited about it. And let me open it and show it to you. Yeah, buddy. This is the Little Bro Stage Snake. I cannot tell you how many videos I have ruined because I was shooting and accidentally tripped over an XLR cable and moved the microphone, or how many close calls I've had just tripping over cables that are ran down the center of my room into my audio interface at my computer. It's such a mess. What's really cool about this is now I can have this stage box near my shooting area where I shoot. Is it filming if there's no film? I can have it over here on the side of the room, run my main cable down my wall into my audio interface, and easily be able to mic up cabinets or whatever I have over here and not have a string of XLR cables across the center of my room where they will ultimately be tripped because I am clumsy. It just makes everything way more convenient for me personally. Sweetwater sent me one of these as well as an instrument and an XLR cable to use in today's video. So thank you so much to Sweetwater and Hosa for sponsoring this video. Use the link down in the description, help the channel out. You guys are the best. Okay. So now that we have all of that out of the way, let's open up the Squier and see if my experience is consistent with this guitar, or if all of those Guitar Center employees were right and it's garbage. You know, Jackson doesn't have like a budget line versus like, it's all just Jackson guitars. Fender has Squier. That's how they do it. That's how they roll. You know, when I was younger, Squier guitars were kind of like embarrassing, I guess. Like they had this reputation as being really kind of shitty guitars, but I don't think they really have that reputation anymore. As a matter of fact, I have a Squier bass that I use to record everything. But let's pull this guy out of the case here. Now, another thing that I want to disclose here is when I was choosing this guitar, you know, the color of this guitar specifically, I kind of impulse chose this color. I wanted to go with the red, you know, like the candy apple red color. Oh, we've got the whammy bar, some Allen wrenches there. I wanted to go with the candy apple red because I've always wanted a candy apple red Stratocaster, and for some reason I just didn't. I like impulse chose this this burst color. Well, here, let me show you. Ah, Jesus, that thing is in there. With this guitar, you also get a free trial at playfender.com. They're not paying me to do this, by the way, so probably don't need to advertise that, but I think it's kind of cool, especially like if you're a beginner. Back to what I was saying, this bag is so thick. These bags are usually shitty, and it's like, why do they even put them on here? But with this one, it actually feels like it's gonna stop. Like, it's, oh man, I love this. This actually looks way nicer in person. I chose the burst finish on this guitar. Oh, hi there. Fun little story. I recorded that whole video, and when I went to upload the footage, realized this camera shut off. Just unexpectedly, out of nowhere. I'm now resuming what I was saying. This is a very nice guitar. It looks beautiful. When I unboxed it, which unfortunately you only saw part of the live reaction from, but very nice. No sharp frets or anything. It feels very good. The craftsmanship feels excellent. Everything is smooth. Everything looks really nice. Like there's no imperfections that I can see or anything like that. So guitar showed up, very cool. Everything looks really good. Everything feels really good. Like surprisingly, for $119, it's kind of crazy for $119 that you're getting a guitar it's Squier, but it's made by Fender. You know, it's still got the Fender headstock on it, which to me, that's like kind of the important part. The one thing I will say, you do get this generic neck plate on the back. I mean, does that matter to you? I don't know, but you know, it's something I noticed. Let's read the specs. This is the Fender Squier Debut Series Stratocaster electric guitar. It is advertised as a beginner guitar and comes with a 2-year warranty, which I think is pretty nice, especially for the price range. It's also advertised that it includes free lessons. I'm assuming that means access to the app. You know, it's not like someone's gonna show up at your door and teach you how to play guitar or anything. You just gotta use the app to learn. I digress. This is the 2-color matte sunburst, but it also comes in a black matte and a Dakota red matte. I didn't realize all these were matte finishes when I bought it. I actually prefer that, but you know, your mileage may vary. It is a poplar guitar with a maple neck and a laurel fretboard. Speaking of the neck, it is listed as a C-shaped neck. Even though it's listed as maple, it is quite a bit darker than most maple necks I've seen. It also has some really interesting grain patterns. I'm assuming that is because this is probably a cheaper, less desirable cut of maple, but I actually think it looks really nice. It features a 5-way blade toggle switch, 1 volume knob, 2 tone knobs, and we have an SSS that is a triple single coil pickup configuration. This guitar comes, it says 10.5 pounds, but I do not believe that at all. We have a Strat tremolo style bridge, and though it's a budget guitar, there's nothing pokey on the bridge. It is actually nice and smooth. This guitar also has a standard Fender scale length of 25.5 inches. And again, for all of that guitar, it comes in at only $119. Kind of a crazy deal. Now maybe we'll plug this in and I will change my tune on that, but so far, it seems like a really solid instrument for $119. Not much money for a guitar. So I'm really interested to see what this sounds like. I did notice I tuned it up, you know, in the other video, the one that we talked about that I lost forever, that's making me upset kind of a little bit talking about it. I did tune it up and I noticed that the tuners feel really good. Like the tuners feel better than any guitar that I've tried, even like the Jackson that I tried previously that was like $170-ish. The tuners feel better than they did on that guitar. But these tuners feel very nice, and not nice for a guitar that's $119. Nice despite being on a guitar that's $119, if you catch my drift. Like, they feel very good. Okay, enough about the tuners. I really like the satin finish. It's nice and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and set this guitar up, put new strings on it, and really give it some attention because I wanna see, for $119, if I put a little bit of time and care into the setup, how far we can stretch that $119. So, let's go set this up. Okay, so I have the strings off this guitar and I just wanted to share some things with you, some observations that I'm making in the moment. All of the frets are really nice. There's no sharp edges or anything. There's nothing that needs to be filed down. I think they're all pretty level. I'll find out if I have any dead notes when I put strings on here, but everything seems really well built. Now the neck,
You can see here in the grain of the wood how wide this is. I believe the reason that this wood grain is so wide is just because it's cheaper wood. This is probably like farmed wood, if I had to guess. You see this in like houses. If you've ever seen one of those memes comparing wood that was used to build houses in the early 1900s versus now, this is what you see. You see these wide grain patterns. I'm no wood expert. I'm just regurgitating information that I've read on it. Here, I did intentionally let this guitar sit for a long time to see if anything weird happened with the neck, and so far nothing, but we'll find out more once I get it strung up. But yeah, everything's really nice. There were 2 layers of plastic on the pickguard. You will have to pull the little top hat knobs off to get the plastic out from underneath. Otherwise, you know, the plastic can stick there and it can make the knobs a little bit sticky when they turn, but they're all good now. Yeah, let's put some strings on this thing, make sure it's intonated, tune it up, and then plug it in. Okay, so I just got the strings on this thing. One more thing I wanted to point out, I forgot to mention. The neck on this was pretty dry. I did put some oil on it. I just put some like antique wood restoration oil cleaner polish, just to give the neck a little bit of moisture, a little bit more shine. Make it look a little bit nicer, you know? Everything was really clean though. There was no weird production filth that you find on a lot of budget guitars.
The Squier. I have my Boss Katana out here. I have cables from today's sponsor, Sweetwater and Hosa. Hosa cables, they're not Sweetwater cables, they're Hosa. Yeah, you get it right. Wow, this is such a long instrument cable. Holy shit. Let's plug this in, yeah? Is going into this Mesa cabinet, it's being mic'd up with a Voodoo Ribbon 1 microphone. It's a pretty typical combination of things for me to have on this channel, if you're familiar with this channel at all. That is loud. Oh, let's get a meter so you know how loud it is, right? No, huh? It's gonna be like over here. What am I doing? Okay, I have a noise gate on this setting on this amplifier right now, so let's change this. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty noisy because of the single coil pickups. Call it a hunch. If I go to something else here, take that noise gate off. Yeah, there's quite a bit of hum. If we go to position 2, which is these 2 single coils, effectively making it a humbucker. You know, takes away a lot of that noise. You're gonna hear a lot of the spring noise. Not a huge deal. You just put some foam back here. That'll take care of that. But you know, again, it's like, I get it. It's a Stratocaster. And like, that's the bridge that a Stratocaster would have, but just put a hardtail on it, you know? Especially for like a beginner. They're gonna plug in and they're gonna go, what is that? I don't know, man, maybe it's just me. I just think that if you're advertising a guitar specifically to beginners, it should probably have the least amount of things that you have to adjust on it as possible. You know? No springs. Whatever. Let's do some clean tones, because I know someone's gonna ask. It'll be okay. There's our clean sound. Let's go back to the bridge pickup now that we don't have as much noise. Since I have set this guitar up, it has been sitting in this room with no air conditioning and highly fluctuating temperatures, and it's actually holding tune really well. So, you know, that's a thing. Maybe, let's put a boost on it too, why not, right? Maybe get some delay and reverb in there as well. Why not? Let's just have some fun. Spanky. Let's just go through each one of the pickup positions. You know, turn this boost off. Let's just so you can hear it clean. Just go through each one of the pickups here. So this is the bridge. Sounds pretty good. Let's bridge and middle. Middle. Neck and middle. Neck. And if you are like me and you're seeing a Strat, you're probably thinking to yourself, I'm gonna get demonetized if I do that, so. So the pickups output is pretty low. I mean, that's not super surprising for, you know, single coil pickups on a Stratocaster, hello, but I just feel like I need to say that, you know, for those of you who watching might not be aware of that information. Let's talk a little bit about the feel and like kind of what I'm experiencing playing this guitar, and then we'll get into some more metal stuff here in a minute. It does feel like a Fender guitar. It feels really nice. I'm just hypothesizing here, but the wood grain on the neck, while it does look really cool, leads me to believe that this wood is probably from like a farmed tree. I don't know. I am not a botanist, wood expert, whatever the word for that is. I'm not one of those. So I'm just guessing. So far it's been fine. But maybe, you know, over time it would have more bend in it or something. That's just a concern that I would have. But so far, everything plays really nice. It feels really nice and everything. I'm not really used to medium frets. These feel like medium frets, which is what I think would be typical on a Stratocaster, but you know, I could get used to them. So when I set this guitar up, it was mostly intonated correctly. Now, I only had 10s on hand, and I would prefer to play 9s if I was playing an E standard. So why did that light just turn off? What's going on here? Good Lord, man. Oh, I didn't have any 9s on hand. I only had 10s, so I tuned to D standard. But with that being said, it didn't take much to intonate it or to, you know, get it set up or anything. It was pretty much set up right out of the box. The electronics are kind of an issue for me. Maybe if you were only playing, you know, clean tones and stuff like that, maybe it's not a big deal for you, but I'm a metal guy. Like, that's what we're doing here. If you got this far in and didn't realize that, you might want to go get your eyes checked, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm a metal guy here, and it's a lot of noise, but that can be easily fixed, you know, and you can even route this out and put a humbucker in the pickguard if you wanted to, or buy another pickguard. You know, one of the nice things about Stratocasters is they're such highly modified guitars. There are so many options out there on the marketplace. Like, you could buy a preloaded pickguard if you wanted. That would probably fit right in here. You know, you could route this out with like a Dremel, put a humbucker in it if you wanted. I've seen that done before. You know, you could do a lot of different things here. The bass itself, the guitar is very good. So if you wanted this as a modding platform as well, I think it's a really good option. The nut is cut very well. It looks like a plastic nut. You're not gonna get a bone nut on a guitar this cheap, or a Graphtec or something like that. It's just a normal plastic nut. You could replace the nut if you wanted to. Do you need to? No. Let's go like a crunch channel real quick. I really like this on the crunch channel, like the sparkliness of the Stratocaster. Sounds really nice. It sounds kind of classic in a way, really. Let's see, what else can I pull out of the 90s? All right, I gotta stop with the copywritten music, but you get the point. It's got that. Grew up listening to angsty music in the 90s. It's got you covered. Go back to metal, huh? Let's see if I can get this sounding a little bit more modern metal, as is. You know, all I had to do to make it a little bit less twangy, a little bit more chunky, just roll the tone knob back a little bit. So if you wanted a Stratocaster body, you wanted to mod it, you didn't want to spend a ton of money, $120 by guitar standards is really very, very not much money. If you wanted all that, you dig the flat aesthetic, or you're gonna put stickers on it or whatever you do with a guitar in this range, I think this is a big win, dude. I have watched a few videos on these guitars and some people were very critical of them, saying that the guitars that they had, you know, had like dead spots, where I haven't experienced any of that. So, you know, maybe it's a quality control issue. I don't really know. All I can tell you is that this one that I ordered from Amazon, I bought this myself. No one sent this to me or anything. It's fine, more than fine. I think it's exceptional for $120. I'll say it. Shout out to today's sponsor, Sweetwater and Hosa cables, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.